Battle for the Planet of the Apes is a 1973 science fiction film directed by J. Lee Thompson. It is the fifth and final entry in the original Planet of the Apes series produced by Arthur P. Jacobs, following Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. It stars Roddy McDowall, Claude Akins, Natalie Trundy, Severn Darden, Lew Ayres, Paul Williams and John Huston. The 2014 sequel in the reboot series Dawn of the Planet of the Apes has a similar premise to Battle, but is not officially a remake. Plot, told as a flashback in the early 21st century, with a wraparound sequence narrated by the orangutan lawgiver set in North America, 2670 AD, this sequel follows the ape leader, Caesar, at least 12 years after he led the revolution in the previous film, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. In this post-nuclear society, Caesar tries to cultivate peace between the apes and the surviving humans. A guerrilla general named Aldo, however, opposes this and plots Caesar's downfall. Caesar is married to Lisa, the female ape of the previous film, and they have a son, named Cornelius in honor of Caesar's father. Caesar regrets never having known his parents until his human assistant MacDonald tells him about film archives of his parents, where he can also learn about the future. The archives are located in the Forbidden City, now a radioactive ruin. After obtaining a Geiger counter and weapons from the armory, Caesar travels with MacDonald and orangutan Virgil to the Forbidden City and sneaks in to find the archives. However, there are radiation-scarred humans still living there under the command of Governor Culp. Caesar and his party view the recordings of Cornelius and Zira and learn about the future of the world, but barely have time to study the tapes before they have to escape being captured. Caesar assembles a meeting to report his discoveries at the Forbidden City. Aldo objects when some humans show up, and he leads the guerrillas away. A team of scouts sent by Governor Culp return and tell him about the Ape City. Culp considers this cover trip by Caesar an act of espionage. His assistant, Mark Copyrighters, believes they did nothing wrong and should be left alone, but Governor Culp stubbornly declares war on Ape City, mustering the humans to destroy the ape society. Aldo is furious that Caesar wants to coexist peacefully with humans, and plots a coup in order to become the ape leader himself. Cornelius overhears this while trying to catch his escaped pet squirrel in a nearby tree. Aldo spots him and hacks the tree branch down, critically injuring Cornelius. After a guerrilla scouting pair is attacked by the approaching humans, Aldo orders all humans to be corralled and leads the guerrillas to loot the weapons armory. Cornelius eventually dies from his wounds, leaving Caesar devastated, but not without leaving him with a warning about Aldo's coup. It is at that moment that Culp's ragtag force launches their attack against Ape City. The initial mutant attack succeeds, forcing Caesar to order the defenders to fall back. When Culp finds Caesar lying among dozens of apes, he threatens to kill him, but the fallen apes, who are feigning death or hiding on Caesar's orders, launch a counterattack that captures most of the mutants. Culp and his remaining forces are killed by Aldo's troops while attempting to retreat. After the battle, Aldo wants to kill the penned humans, but Caesar shields them. Aldo declares that Caesar should be killed if he shields the humans. However, Virgil reveals Aldo's responsibility for Cornelius' death and the breaking of the ape community's most sacred law. An infuriated Caesar pursues Aldo up a large tree, resulting in Aldo falling to his death. Caesar then attempts to free the humans, but they refuse to leave the pen unless humans are treated as equals. Caesar then realizes the apes are just as despicable as the former slave owners, and the apes and humans then decide to coexist with one another and begin a new society. The lawgiver finishes his wraparound narration. It's revealed he's talking to a group of young humans and apes. Apes and humans have continued to coexist in peace. When asked by a human child, who knows about the future, the lawgiver replies perhaps only the dead. A close-up of a statue of Caesar shows a single tear falling from one eye. Production: Battle for the Planet of the Apes was the second-to-last film produced by Arthur P. Jacobs. He died June 27, 1973 at age 51, less than 2 weeks after its release. Development: Initially writer Paul Den, who had provided the script for every previous sequel, was hired to provide a story treatment for the fifth film in the series. Den withdrew from the project prior to completing the screenplay due to health reasons. Screenwriters John William Corrington and Joyce Hooper Corrington were brought in after the success of their film The Omega Man, although prior to that neither one of them had written any science fiction films and, indeed, Joyce Carrington later admitted they had never seen any of the Apes films prior to being hired to write the script for Battle. Den was unavailable for the initial rewrites but was hired to come in and do a final polish on the script, making minor changes to the script that the Corringtons had written. Den was given a story credit despite an appeal to the Writers Guild of America for shared credit on the screenplay. Den claimed to have rewritten 90% of the dialogue and he altered the ending. The original script by the Corringtons ended on a playground with ape and human children fighting. Den chose to go with a close-up of a statue of Caesar with a tear falling from its eye, which Joyce Corrington characterized as stupid. It turned our stomachs when we saw it. The Writers Guild of America ruled in favor of the Corringtons for sole screenplay credit. Casting: while Roddy McDowall returns, John Huston appears as the lawgiver and veteran actor Lew Ayres appears as Mondemus. The casting of this film otherwise showed the diminishing stature and budget of the series. France Nguyen, who at the time was arguably a bigger star than most of the top-billed actors, received poor billing in a small role, though the extended DVD cut restored much of her screen time. MacDonald, Caesar's human friend, is portrayed in this film by Austin Stoker. Hari Rhodes played a character named MacDonald in the previous film, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. The change in actors was noted in dialogue indicating that Stoker's MacDonald was the brother of Rhodes' MacDonald. In his novelization of the movie, David Gerrold writes that the original MacDonald had died in the interim but does not specify a cause. Filming: principal photography took place on the Fox Movie Ranch for an estimated budget of $1.7 million. Heading into filming, director J. Lee Thompson was both unhappy with the script as well as the scope of the production, which he felt could have used a bigger budget to assist in the portrayal of the battle. Thompson had agreed to direct without a script in place and regretted that Paul Den couldn't have been on the project throughout the writing process. Extended cut: the syndicated television version adds a few scenes cut from the theatrical release. One scene takes place after Aldo chases teacher Abe, where MacDonald reminds him why humans should not say no to an ape. Another scene towards the end of the film shows the beginnings of the House of Mendes cult, as the humans in the city are about to fire off the Doomsday Bomb, but decide not to, as it would threaten the world. In Beneath, one can see many signs of Mendes in the Forbidden Zone, a hymnal on the pipe organ reading Mendes 2, busts of past leaders of the Mutant Society, and the mutant leader in Beneath is also named Mendes. It is clear that Governor Mendes is a different leader than his predecessors, Breck and Kolb, since he is more sympathetic to the apes. So long as they do not invade their territory. In 2006, the Planet of the Apes movies were re-released separately and in a new box set. This version was earlier released as a bootleg and has been widely acknowledged by Apes fans as the definitive version. Listed are the additional scenes. Near the end of the opening credits, the score continues to its original ending for 25 seconds, with extra footage of General Aldo approaching on a horse. The chase of the teacher of the apes is longer by 20 seconds. The mutant chief is walking around in his headquarters, and has more dialogue. The entry into the ruins of the Forbidden City of the Apes Scout Party with Caesar is 40 seconds longer, with more dialogue. The escape from the Forbidden City shows more footage and dialogue involving the apes. The scene where Cornelius is shot by a human boy begins slightly earlier, making it clear that the shooting is a game Euro, which makes more sense, since no mutant party had yet even approached the ape city. Deleted scene: in this edited scene, Governor Kolb tells his lieutenant to fire an atomic missile on Ape City when he gives the signal. The mutant assault is 45 seconds longer. In this sequence there were 3 more smaller cuts that reduced the battle scene by 40 additional seconds, and originally there was no musical score. The scene where the Governor Kolb calls Sergeant York is missing. There are additional shots and dialogue before the mutants lay down the smoke screen. 355 more seconds of the battle were cut. The scene where Aldo kills Governor Kolb and his followers in the school bus has been restored. The fight between Aldo and Caesar is longer. Deleted scene, the new Governor Mendes talks the mutant lieutenant out of firing the atomic missile. As they argue, they discover it is the Alpha Omega bomb from beneath the planet of the apes. Only with this sequence reinserted, the odd cut from the Caesar conversation involving the humans to the ending sequence makes more sense. Reception: Battle for the Planet of the Apes grossed a domestic total of $8.8 million, making it the lowest-grossing film in the series. However, the film went on to earn an estimated $4 million in North American rentals in 1973. The film received mixed to negative reviews from critics. The film holds a 38% rating on the review aggregate website Rotten Tomatoes, based on 24 critical reviews. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film a negative review, stating, "Battle looks like the last gasp of a dying series, a movie made simply to wring the dollars out of any remaining ape fans." The film later became one of the inspirations to the story of the Academy Award-winning film, Argo. After Ben Affleck's character watches the movie with his son, he is inspired to make a movie for the CIA as a cover story to get hostages out of Iran. Time frame: there has been some debate over what year the main body of the film takes place. The year 2670 AD is shown at the beginning of the film during the framing segment. The rest of the film is told in flashback and no exact date is stated directly. However, there are two lines of dialogue that do offer a clue, though they conflict with each other. Mendes says that there has been 12 years of peace, which would place the film somewhere around or after the year 2003. This assumes that the nuclear war that destroyed human civilization took place immediately after the previous film, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, which was set in 1991. At the end of battle, Mondemus says he's lived in the Ape City Armory for 27 years, placing the film in the year 2018 or later. His statement helps make more sense of Virgil's earlier comment that Mondemus was his teacher when he was a boy, though that could have occurred if they were in captivity, before Conquest. Those who adhere to the 2003 date cite that Kolb does not look 27 years older than he did in Conquest. Those who cite the 2018 date claim that Mendes's statement does not preclude 15 years of war, after Conquest, that ended in a final nuclear exchange. Several reference materials, such as the Sacred Scrolls website and Rich Handley's timelines of the Planet of the Apes, use the later date, but others disagree and cite the earlier date. Notes and references. External links: Battle for the Planet of the Apes at the Internet Movie Database, Battle for the Planet of the Apes at AllMovie, Battle for the Planet of the Apes at Rotten Tomatoes, Battle for the Planet of the Apes at Box Office Mojo.